Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone-Faced Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're back with Banner of the Stars, episode 11. And just in case, I am being still cooked alive by this place, and it's prevented me from sleeping even. So if I go a bit loopy or my opinions widely vary from what they normally are, just know that my brain is like a lobster sitting on the stove, and the temperature is slowly going up. Nothing I can do about it though, so here I am, continuing to at least enjoy the world's delights, as it were. Before we go into the thoughts of this episode or from last episode, we do have a couple of comments. This time from the Patreon, Rogue Knight, both times. In this instance, on the episode Spectacular Insanity, where they say, "Nice! The translated map would have been nice to have when I watched. Maybe the book has one, I don't know. When I watched season 2, I many times thought, I'm just going to have to read the book, lol. It was nice the show actually gave us a map. You brought up a good point. Can't you skip swords? When I was watching season 2, I kind of forgot about how I think the show was telling us you can, but it feels like there are fronts in plain space where can't tell if it's a misunderstanding on my part or did the rules of plain space travel change. So United Mankind can show up anywhere behind where our fleets are, but I guess scouts would probably see you coming. I don't remember the fronts thing, if I'm being honest. I thought plain space was just, again, two-dimensional space where you just needed a shield to go through. Shield, a time-space bubble projection thing to get through. I don't remember there being any additional concerns. Like, it's already so limited that you have to have a sword or a gateway. I think they're just translating it to gateway now to get through it. Otherwise, that was it, wasn't it? Anyway, that's all I remember. If you remember there being fronts thing, go ahead and let me know what they were, like what they were described as. Otherwise, because the only thing coming to my mind now is the galactic wall thing from. Oh, now that I'm thinking about it, so many other sci-fis. I would say Legend of the Galactic Heroes that kept the two sides apart from one another. But then again, get the galactic wall from Star Trek, the outer wall, and the inner one too. If you think about it, and I think Star Wars has a similar thing. Anyway, that's a ramble. They also commented on Remembrance Dinner. I'm literally sitting here laughing and enjoying the ship a Bob comment. I never thought about some of the things you said about what makes an ob an ob. I just viewed it all through a simple lens of course you'd need the ob to make someone genetically into an ob. Great point, and I think I partially agree. You're not a full ob if you don't descend from the original 29 families, which is why I think the Baron had such an inferiority complex. He didn't feel like he was actually an ob because he doesn't have such heritage. However, I think a point could be made that if the ob introduces genes from a third party, genes that come from a real ob, does that change anything? Like take the genes from the father and mother and dabble in a third person's genes that come from any ob. Does that make the Baron a full-on ob now? This stuff gets my brain going. Thanks for making me think some more about this. Smiley face. See, I don't know. I'm not a geneticist. I have no idea. The ship of ob comment was probably as far in depth as I could possibly have gotten with that. I mean, I mean, if I add my genetic material to you, that doesn't make you me, right? You you're not representing my bloodline. If I Okay, I guess the concept we're going for here is like not maybe even blood transfusion. Like if I gave you my organs, right? Say you're dying, you need my liver. Bad liver to take, by the way. I don't even do anything, but my liver's already going bad anyhow. I gave you my liver, right? You've got a part of me in you. That doesn't make you part of me, right? We still have different DNA. I guess that doesn't work here because we're literally talking about DNA. Can you combine three people's DNA together to make one person? Wouldn't that? I guess technically, in this world where you can change any type of genetics you want, it might be possible. But at that point, is it anybody's DNA, right? At that point, does when you're like messing with the mRNA sequences and you know all that shit, does that matter anymore? Because the lines of code at that point are just code, right? They don't even represent a heritage. The heritage is represented in the base code. But if you go in and change the base code to such a degree that it's no longer applicable anymore, say say we changed your DNA and replaced all of the base human bits with to mirror or just an exact copy of somebody from those 29 families. Are you now a bad Xerox of one of them? Can I can I change somebody to such a degree as to make them somebody else? And if that is the case, if that holds true, at what point is anybody anybody anymore? Why wouldn't you just have full on like facilities in space? Okay, come on up, all you landers. We're gonna make you into Ob, right? That's it. I believe that's the assumption of what happened to Rock Lynn, right? Rock Lynn got turned into an Ob for his to persevere with his duty as the Count of Hyde system. I know we don't get shown that, but I just always assumed that's what happened to him. And what is eventually going to happen to Jinto, right? But even so, would that give him the lifespan of an Obtu? How far genetically do they change these people? And I guess that goes back to my conversation before about did he actually get changed? I guess he must have been. No, but he must have been created as a knob, right? I think I'm again, my brain's spoiling. He must have been created as a knob as a result of Sloof and no idea who Sloof's wife must have been. So that was a result of choice from Sloof as a reward for his services, or no, his wife's service, right? Sloof's wife was the one that did all the service, which is why they had op kids. I'm sorry, I've gone so far off the trail that I've forgotten what I was talking about in the first place. Because the conceit here, I think, is that the kids have to be made ob at the genesis of their creation, right? Their conception. At the point of conception, they had to have been genetically modified. In which case, this does not affect anybody right now. And I guess your conceit here is that if you just copy and paste the genetic modifications from one of the 29 families into that person, does that not then make them one of the 29 families, right? Obviously, it doesn't because we're clearly tracing lineage and heritage, right? So if you have the exact genetic modifications done to you that the one of the 29 families has, and they don't consider you one of the 29 families, then there's clearly some sort of different separation here, to which the whole Ship of Ob argument comes into play. That if they're forcing their point of view on it, that even though we've modified you to effectively be the same as one of us, but we're not going to consider you that, we're going to consider you your whole different family, then their argument stands in place of your um, hypothetical, I believe. That's just my view on it. Once again, I'm loopy from no sleep, and my brain is literally boiling in its own juices. So if that didn't even make sense, I apologize. Otherwise, what do we got here? The episode itself, we are 5 hours away from the most entertaining character making their appearance on the scene. The United Mankind fleet has not yet gone through the gateway yet, which means that if they hold out for too long, then the Duchess is just going to attack them from behind in planar space with 12 fleets versus 170, I mean 12 squadrons versus 170 squadrons. It's going to be 7-1 no matter what in 5 hours. Well, not no matter what. The Aptake fleet has lost a large number of ships too, so it's probably already very much well outnumbered in that respect too. It's probably gone up to like 20-1 or something shit right now. The Universal Mankind fleet, Universal Mankind, the UM fleet has not lost any ships that we're aware of. All they've done is expend mines. So, yeah. So I think most of my thoughts last time were literally just about these Matryoshka mines that we've now developed. Or, sorry, we're not United Mankind. We're on the op side. So yeah, I guess all we got now is to see what happens, because I'm assuming that this is going to be the episode where the United Mankind fleet shows up, that the majority of the fight happens, and then possibly the Duchess arrives, considering that we spent 25 minutes last time in a 45-hour battle, which is insane. This is the reverse Dragon Ball Z. Can't wait till Namek explodes. Oh, it blew up while I was saying that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the show so I can start turning my air conditioning back on. Hasn't really added anything new yet, but I almost wait. Nope. The moment we hit the commanders of the fleets, that's always when it's just no new information. Waiting for her to show up. Didn't even give him a name. Nor her. Nor him. Sorry, the last one seems very familiar to me, like I'd seen her before, but clearly hadn't. I don't give a shit about those two. I called them dumb, somebody called me out on calling them dumb, and I'm still calling them dumb.
子供の頃、無重力庭園でやるのはいつも決まった遊びだった。
Don't look like happy kids.
相手の棒を叩き落とせば勝ちなのだが、すぐに決着がつくことはめったにない。
It's like an odd version of a knife fight.
だが、幾度も離れては近づき、やがては交差の瞬間に。
Have you seen West Side Story, right, where they tie their wrists together in a knife fight so you can't like get away from the other person?
なぜかこの遊びは馬上試合と呼ばれていた。
Okay. Because last time I assumed that jousting might have been something they do with their ships. Like specifically the assault ships, how they have like the main gun on the very front and they seem to run at one another, so I just assumed it was a fleet thing. I mean, that looks like fun, but at the same time, those really do look like heavy metal, I don't know, those little twirly things that cheerleaders did. I don't know if they still do or not. You know, you spin them in your hand, you throw them up in the air, and you catch them. Marching bands have them too. What was I saying? Oh, right, no, I called them dumb. And the main comment that I was pointing out was that I was hoping Lafiel was going to try to assert her path towards the Emerald Throne, specifically to get rid of people like them, who seem to be using the nepotism of their birth. and not even caring really about the results of what they're doing. And someone's like, well, if you're so smart, what would you have done? And I said it 2 episodes ago. Put all, like they did in this episode, put all the Guardian ships at the front and maintain a constant fire on the gateway. That way, every mine that comes through has to get through a whole layer of weaponry before it can even approach the assault ships. And then you still keep your mines in reserve. You know nothing good is coming out of that gateway. Just make it a glowing hot mess of lasers and anti-protons. Oh, we're back at the capital. I recognize the capital by now.
離任ですか。はい。任期が尽きるものですから。つきましては、皇帝陛下へのご挨拶を最小閣下に取り次いでいただきたいと思いまして。お安い御用です。我が帝国と外交関係を結んでいる国は、3年前から大使殿のハニア連邦だけですから。
Okay, we're finally explaining that.
最小閣下。我が国は今回の戦役において尊敬すべき同盟諸国に同調するのを控えましたが、未だノバシテリア条約機構の一翼を担っていることには変わりありません。もちろん存じております、大使殿。ですが帰国はいささか他の諸国とは毛色が変わって見えますのでね、時々その事実を忘れてしまうようですな。ほう、どのように変わっているのでしょうか。
He was part of that meeting, though.
の方々のこだわりは、とかく帝政と民主制という政治体制の違いに矮小化しがちです。ですが、帝国とかの国々との間にはもっと巨大な深淵が横たわっている。
I don't know, this is a visual metaphor we've gotten in other shows, and it doesn't play out well for that person.
出身である閣下が帝国を維持する官僚機構の頂点を目指された理由ですか。そう言えるかもしれません。ですが、こういう理由はいかがですかな。帝国のありようこそが近代という暴流を地上世界に封じ込める唯一のものだから。というのは。
Depends on what you mean by modernity.
本当ですかな。
Modernity.
いや、むやみに疑うのは良くないですな。
Because if it's like forcing progress on backwards people, that's fine. So I was trying to think of the negative version of it, but nothing's coming to my head because I am a liberal, so. So this is reused footage. I do appreciate that they at least explained where the fourth nation in the Nova Sicily Treaty went. Is this where the Sea Royal died? It does look like that footage. Yeah, this is where the Sea Royal died. Now, this seems new though. Imagine if the whole rest of the episode was this.
僕たちのバースロイドは未だアプティック門をめぐる防衛戦の渦中にあった。護衛艦が前に出てくれてだいぶ楽になったね。
That's what I'm saying. I literally said, let's do the guardship thing first.
23カ所、うち機密漏れの発生が7カ所ですが、すべて応急処置済みです。
推進機関や火器は
問題ありません。
死者、行方不明者、共になし。よかった。
Just that one injury.
第一突撃隊全艦 一時交代する。戦隊司令部の許可を取ったわ。
そんな司令、私の船はまだ戦えます。
アブリアル十将長ね。わからないこと言わないで。交代というのはね、戦えるうちじゃないとできないの。戦い足りないなら心配はいらない。すぐに戻ってこなきゃいけないんだから。
わかりました。
それは何より、他に文句のある人がいなければ最大戦闘加速で
They've been fighting for 45 hours. Take a minute to breathe.
艦長。
ああ、交代する。
You can't maintain focus for that long. You gotta give your senses a break. Especially for as crazy as the battle's been.
情けない。
美味しい。こういう時は冷たい方がいいかと思って。冷えたのを用意
Actually,
したんだ
thank you,
けど。
Jinto. That would be grazing.
口の方が良かったのかな。
そなた、私を何だと思ってるんだ。
いや、人によっては血をすすりたい気分になることもあるのかと思ってさ。僕はないけど。
私だってない。
血に飢えていたわけじゃなかったんだ。
違う。
そんなに力いっぱい否定しなくても。
艦長、野暮ですいませんが、銃士たちに余圧服を脱ぐ許可をいた
Yeah,
だけ
Eek's
ま
up
せんか。
watching them
と
from
りあ
the
えず
blurry
危険
front
は去
of
っ
the
たと
ship.
思いますし、余圧服を着て作業をするのは辛いものでして。
それは気づかなかった。許可を出す。
ありがとうございます。
でも野暮って何がだ。
いえ、なんか楽しそうだったものですから。
Oh, come on, don't prove me wrong by having all the Guardian ships blow up. If there's some patrol ships in them with them.
どうやら敵の機雷保有数はこちらの予想をはるかに上回っているようだ。まだ雷撃が続いているのか。なんて非常識な戦術だ。僕は常識的に負けるより非常識的に勝つ方が好みだね。僕だってそうだ。だがこちらには好みで選択する余裕は
Old
ない。
RTS buddy of mine
巡察官はそろそろ機雷を使い
used to say this.
電磁
If
投
it's
射後の
dumb
使
and
用
it
許可を出
works,
しておいてくれ。
then it's not dumb.
ああ、それが常識的な対応だね。お前の気が変わって非常識な対応を思いつく前に伝達してくることにしよう。主力艦隊の到着まであと3時間か。
See, all that fighting was 2 hours. But of course, if you don't get the United Mankind fleet out of planar space, they're gonna run head first into a massive fleet.
右翼第4艦隊はウィンブルとアプティックの間に割って入りつつあります。コトポニー大提督が敵の後方を遮断して
Oh,
く
okay,
れる
we're
でしょう。
bringing everybody back in.
左翼ルレーフ大提督の第2艦隊
They
は
only indicated the
ミスケル
12
モン中
before.
心に展開し、なおアプティックモンに向け進行中です。
ミスケルはこれで大丈夫でしょう。ムルスファー提督にすぐに穴蔵から出るよう伝えなさい。命令到達時間をもってミスケル防衛艦隊は減塩第17艦隊となります。
了解しました。
なんとか間に合いそうですね。そういえばアプティックにはドゥビウスさんの姫君がいるはず。ハイド伯爵。あの若者も一緒の船に乗っているとか。
What does it even matter to you?
なるべくなら生きていてほしいものです。
Other than the fact that you seem to really care about your nepotism allies.
寝覚めが悪いですからね。
Oh, it's nice to have an automated repair yard, or mostly automated repair yard.
おいおい、乱暴に扱わないでくれよ。うちの機関部は神経質なんだ。猫を可愛がるみたいに優しく頼むぜ。ウィス。
とにかく積めるだけ積んでください。次の補給なんていつになるかわからないし。
Daiho, get out of there. Get somewhere safe. Go in someone's bedroom or something. Camera, stop going all Gynax on us.
リアホか
I don't know if it's going to assault anyone out there,
今
but
出
I'm
し
as
て
attracted to
そこでじっとし
Lafiel
てる
as
だ
I
け
am to Firen,
あまりあちこちで歩かぬがよい
which is
ぞ
to say I'm not.
総員退去となった時取り残されるかもしれぬからなまあ総員退去などという事態にはならぬ方が良いけれど
That was a horror movie scene translation. Fair enough. Seagirl's destruction was a bit of a horror movie thing too.
皇族には皇族の、貴族には貴族の義務があるように、政界軍将士には将士としての責任があります。
殿下、せっかくの貸しが無駄になりますな。
私は
Everyone that's died to
この
make you
船を
move
全うできる
forwards.
と思うかそうかダメだどうもそ
You
なたの言う
should
ことは
tell
信
the
用で
cat
き
in
ない
this opinion.
深刻な事態が訪れつつあるよ。どうやら巡察艦の核融合弾が足りなくなってきているようだ。弾切れか。電磁投射砲は敵艦が現れるまで温存しておくはずだった。こんなことになるとはね。どうすればいいのだ。お前に策はない
I
のか。
feel like you've only really been saved by the fact that the United Mankind hasn't sent
発射
anything
弾素を
but
抑えろと命
mines.
令するのかい。屈辱だな。弾切れの巡察艦を失う方が屈辱だ。そう思わないか。分かっている。これ以降機雷を目標としての電磁投射砲を使用することを禁ずる。護衛艦への負担が増えてしまうね。仕方ないだろ
Let them fucking use everything they need to use, you
彼らには出番はないよ。
dumbasses.
その時に休んでもらうさ。そうだね。
司令長官、敵艦多数騒動を通過してきます。
Oh, finally.
やっと新しい局面に突入してくれたようだね。護衛艦を急ぎ下がらせよ。やれやれ、向こうもやっと弾切れか。弾切れの意味が違う。あちらは機雷を使い果たしたにしてもまだ核融合弾をたっぷり持っている。分かっているよね、レー
Oh
ス。
man, we're moving up to nukes.
で
I
も
don't
少
think
し
we've
ぐらい
seen those
楽
before.
観的な気分になりたい時だってあるだろう。
Have the mines been sending back information as well? Because otherwise, how would they know?
格闘戦の時間が来たわ。
How would the United Mankind fleet know when to send their own ships in?
機雷だの巡察
Or
艦だ
even
の
when to stop
つまら
firing
ないものば
mines?
かり相手にさせられたものね。今度は突撃艦が相手よ。
The assault ships use the anti-protons, not the electromagnetic rails, so that's still fine.
遅れを取ったら私に対する個人的な侮辱とみなすからね。
いつか戦場に臨んでも全くの平静でいられる日が来るんだろうか。
とりあえず
It's probably best that you
休
don't.
眠機雷の奇襲はなさそうだね。
ああ、機関からの情報で判別可能になったからな。そちらは自責少子に任せて問題ない。
こちら第2107護衛戦隊所属モーネジュ、敵突撃隊の追撃を受けている。支援を請う。
Weren't you guys supposed to be
前回
backing
最
up?
大戦闘加速、護衛艦と敵艦隊の間に割り込むわ。
指揮官全速。
Yeah, the guard ships were supposed to have pulled back already.
敵は6隻。
Do we not have any patrol ships left?
右翼から順に第1から第6と識別する。まず6号艦を集中攻撃するわ。砲艦を直ちに反転。次は1号艦を狙う。
了解。
敵艦は 第6号艦を中心に密集体系を取りました。
I'm worried about their formation and their look because it looks like they're just explosives.
敵第6号艦爆
Right,
散
like they're like tiny ships with massive missiles under them.
尖閣温度急上昇。なお上昇中。装甲板誘拐の危険があります。
なんとかするがよい。
なんとかって。全冷却系の稼働効率を規定値5割増しまで上げ。次。
3、2、1、通過。
回答。
I was worried for a moment they were doing like a whole antimatter thing for their ships.
ラフィール遠すぎるよ。
おお、敵艦隊が回答したわ。相手をしてくれるってわけね。みんな負けるんじゃないわよ。目標は引き続き第1号艦。
指揮官噴射。
Oh, is that her point of view as the being integrated with the ship's sensors?
子供の頃の馬上試合、何が面白いのかと思っていたけど、これが元になっているんだな。敵密集体系で再接近します。
各艦に告げる。この1降下でなんとか同数に持っていくわよ。もし同数に持ち込めなかったら逃げればいいわね。逃げなくて済めば次は第3号艦を狙う。
百姓長って意外に慎重なんだな。安心したよ。
当たり前だ。先手を取れたおかげで
I mean, you've already lost so many ships anyway.
まともに戦うならこれが限界だ。
Cautiousness at this point.
3対5にされたならまず勝ち目はない。
そうだね。
敵接近します。敵艦隊ガムロイルに照準を合わせています。撃てい。
Better not destroy again, Royal. I'm not gonna deal with her dying.
揚州後方。
ガムロイルは。
私は大丈夫。命令変更。第1号艦を狙う。とどめを刺すのよ。全艦回答開始。
艦長、機関が悲鳴を上げていま
I
す。
can't tell. I thought they were targeting an individual formation, but it seems like they're
艦長
targeting
1
an
号艦が
individual
敵
ship.
艦方面に後退していきます。
どうやらこちらの判断よりも深刻な被害を受けたみたいね。これで4対4。命令再変更。やはり第3号艦を取る。我が帝国政界軍が同数の敵に敗北するなんてありえないことだと思っているわ。まして
Kind of been
私
the
の
case
隊
so
なら。
far.
まして私の船なら。
Didn't even consider what would happen if they got too close with the shield systems up.
回答開始。そろそろみんな燃料も弾薬も厳しくなってきた頃ね。次の1降下で第3号艦を撃破できなかった場合、そのまま交代します。いい？引き際を見誤らないで。
Well, it seems like the United Mankind ships have the massive disadvantage of only having like 4 giant missiles under them. So you know when they run out.
私は馬上試合で負けたことがないんだ。
Oh, because they have the same kind of weapons.
私を突きか。総員衝撃に備えるがよい。
Apparently they still aim for shit though. So we are still messing with the perception of time, though. One whole episode was 40-something hours. The beginning of this was a couple of hours, and the longest part of it was less time than that. I don't know. It's not like I was kind of banking on the whole I don't know. I don't know. When they said one was retreating and they were even, and then we saw them in a precarious situation, I kind of thought that our allied fleet was going to start pouring through the gateway, and we were going to announce our success or something with the explosions of these ships that we were fighting. But maybe that's too tropey, right? Could be. Otherwise, you know, I appreciate that we got like a lull in the battle at the very least. Not a lull in the battle, a lull in our characters' involvement so that we can see them and their perspective on things, like Samson considering the comforts of the crew who have been fighting all this time. Or even Lafiel having this conversation with Daiho, which is cute. I mean, I'm kind of concerned Daiho's wandering around in the vents, though. Only in so much as that it puts him at risk of being anywhere if there's a hull breach anywhere, and I don't want to lose Daiho.
このまま何も手を打てずに打ち減らされるのをぼんやりと待っているしかないのかネフェ。どこへ行くつもりだ。部下を無駄死にさせたと言われたは大いなる恥辱だが、そうでないなら死に場所ぐらい選ばせてもらう。
監督、すべての行動を許可する。総員退去を命じる。
I don't like that. I just said the whole Daiho thing, and if they're going to abandon ship, it's a good chance that somebody's not going to be able to make it to quarters in time to pick up the cat. I mean, cat cared enough to put him in the overlay. What else? I appreciate if the flagship fucking gets out there to the battle. That would be nice. You know? Don't sit to the very back waiting for everything to finally come pouring through and overwhelm you. But then again, I hated those guys from the very beginning, and their call to not fire the primary guns at the mines that are coming at you. They're like, it would be dumb if we ran out of ammunition before the fight started. Yeah. It'd also be dumb if those ships fucking exploded because they didn't defend themselves with every weapon they had available to them. Fucking hate it. I hate those two guys. Otherwise, you know, maybe it's because, again, my brain's boiling, or the fact that this episode was combat heavy, it was so combat heavy. I feel like most of the stuff that was happening, I said all my thoughts for, because nothing's really coming to me at the moment. So, I think I'm just going to go ahead and go into the note-taking section. And with that, I should come back with something at least. I'm sure I'm going to have thoughts in a moment and when I write them down. Because otherwise I feel like I've said everything. So I will catch you after this. All right, I am back from my note taking, and yeah, I think it was, like I said before, not very much to go over here. Except I wanted to talk about the jousting thing that I brought up before and how it seemed like that kind of a duel. Did a little bit of research while I was watching. And yeah, I said the jousting seems like a zero-G version of a Helena duel. And a quote I have here is, among the outlaws of this area is said to have originated that sanguinary form of personal encounter called the Helena duel. It consisted of tying the left hands of the duelists securely together with rawhide, giving each a knife with a 3-inch blade, whirling them around rapidly a few times and turning them loose. The shortness of the knife blades prohibited the likelihood of a fatal single stroke, and the fight progressed as a gruesome, gory slashing match while the contestants hacked away furiously. No quarter was given or expected. And this is a quote from a 1930s autobiography called Pioneer Life in Texas. To give you a kind of a framework of that, if you've seen the Michael Jackson music video Bad, I believe is the one, that is the origin of that when the two gangsters tie their hands together and get into a knife fight. The origin of that appears to be from the Helena duel. However, there is also something called the Spagna Balte, which is a folk duel and may never have really happened. Described as the challenge took place through the fact that one fighter drew his knife and asked his enemy how long he could stand cold iron in his life. The answer was usually, well, I can take as long as you. The challenger then measured off a piece of his knife with the wild threat, I will cut you a chip in which the sun and moon will shine. After this, the knife blades below the mark were wrapped with leather straps, the shirts were returned, and the fighters with raised arms and the knives in the highest cut each grasped the palm of their enemy's right arm with their left. In this way, standing breast to breast, bare hoofed and naked to the waist, they were bound together with a belt, which was fastened around them both, or even so that their own belts were fastened together, so that neither could tear himself away from the other. Then the battle for life and death began, whereby it was important to ward off the blows of your enemy, and with your left hand, while your other, I'm sorry, while you yourself tried to free your right hand to cut your enemy with the knife. This bloody game was continued until one of the combatants fell, and the victor then became highly esteemed amongst others. But even more often it happened that both of them had received wounds before they were separated from each other. And this is a recount from Weil and Werdane, 1868, which then places this idea even before Pioneer Life in Texas from 1930. The concept of tying yourself to your enemy and then having to whirl around on them with your weapon, it just feels like this is like. I don't know. This is a sci-fi story from way in the future. It just feels like this is entrenched in this very same idea. I don't know where they originally get their ideas from, but this is where the modern versions of these ideas are coming from. Other minor points, or not minor points, but minor thoughts in my head about the episode I'll include. We finally find out what happened to the fourth member of the Alliance, the Federation of Hanya. They just didn't follow through with the terms of the treaty they signed, is all it seems. They're not there out of high principles or anything. It just seems like they just didn't want to enter the war. It's weird, considering that that guy, their ambassador, was there when they made all the war threats. He just stood silently in the background. The Prime Minister's point of view is interesting, considering that we know the Ob typically care less about what happens with the planets and their space that they control, focusing almost entirely on trade and travel aspects of the solar systems. So having the Prime Minister being a lander that wants to use the strength and expansiveness of the Ob to modernize the lives of those people on planets across the Empire implies that things are not great in a lot of places and that this is something that needs to happen. I mean, if the idea is that Samson may have been a cannibal because things were harsh on the planet he comes from, well, maybe we need modernization. And lastly, I've said what I've said about the twins. Nothing's changed this episode to change that opinion. I think they're fucking idiots, and bad things need to happen. I don't know. I don't know how to put it. Hopefully, hopefully everything turns out alright, but we have lost way too many people for my opinion of them to ever go anywhere above south. Anyway, I've been Theta. This has been Stone-Faced Reactions. This has been episode 11, Banner of the Stars, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?